If you are not prioritizing protein in midlife, you are quietly dismantling the foundation your future depends on. I know you hear about protein everywhere, but I really want you to understand why it's so important. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. This show is proudly sponsored by Rumble and Rise. To find out more about joining Rumble and Rise, head on over to graceandgrit.com/ready to rumble. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at using protein to build and maintain muscle. This phenomenon is called anabolic resistance. Essentially, muscle cells become less responsive to protein intake. At the same time, muscle loss accelerates if protein intake and resistance training are insufficient. So this combination has real consequences, not just for your appearance, but for metabolic health, bone density, balance, and long-term independence. Muscle is not just aesthetic tissue. I mean, yeah, sure, it makes you look good, but it serves a greater purpose than that. It's metabolically active. It helps to regulate blood sugar, support joint stability, and it really protects mobility as we age. It even helps our brain to work better. So losing it quietly shapes our health trajectories over time. And many women, I know my generation was definitely victim to this, we were taught to prioritize calorie reduction over nourishment. We were always taught to just eat less. But in midlife, as so many women learn the hard way, that strategy backfires. Inadequate protein contributes to fatigue, unstable energy, slower recovery, stalled progress, even when your efforts are high. And man, that sucks. Research consistently shows that midlife and older adults benefit from higher protein intake distributed across the day, especially when paired with strength training. So aiming for 25 to 30 grams of protein at every meal, rather than trying to cram it all in at dinner, can go a long way in helping you to feel better and, yes, even look better. This distribution, spreading it out over the day, supports muscle protein synthesis more effectively. A 2015 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that distributing protein evenly across meals led to greater 24-hour muscle protein synthesis compared to a typical pattern where most protein was consumed at dinner. The difference wasn't huge, but over months and years, it compounds. Protein, just like strength training, isn't just about building muscle. It also supports satiety. It helps us to stay feeling full. It helps us to stay out of that place of being hangry, right? When we have destabilized blood sugar. And it provides the necessary amino acids for neurotransmitter production, meaning it influences mood and mental clarity as well. So again, while you may have heard this information a lot in terms of like eat more protein, this is why. Protein is not a trend. Protein is not necessarily diet dogma. It is quite literally structural support for the body that you want to live in for decades to come. And it gives your body the best chance at supporting you in the ways that you need to be supported as you age. So, how much protein are you eating right now? That is definitely something worth considering. In fact, all of my clients that I have this conversation with, we just start by tracking protein for a week. Because often what we think we're doing isn't what we're actually doing. So just track your protein for a few days and see what your starting point is. And then I would never encourage you to massively increase your protein overnight, but can you add an additional serving of protein, an additional 25 grams of protein? And once you're consistent with that additional serving, then you can consider adding more. But protein is your friend. It is definitely your muscle's friend. And we want to respect our muscle and protect our muscle as much as possible at midlife and beyond. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, A Midlife Woman's Guide to Deep Health and Happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.